Welcome everyone to Pitch Slapped. I'm Dan. This is Stefen, and today we're joined by Jonathan Girard. So thank you, John, for coming.
No problem.
In this episode, we're going to hear a story pitch from Stefen. So without further ado, Stefen, blow our minds.
I hope I can. So this is not so much a story per se as more like a recounting of like an actual event. It's called our Possum Hospital's a Thing. And basically it recounts like my friend's dad's funeral. And like, you know, how people act and feel and what went down at this funeral. And then like this moment of like levity that happened when this other guy, one of my other buddy's friends came, and he like told us this story about how this possum was hit by a car and like its screeching woke them up on like a Saturday or Sunday. So this possum is screeching its brains out, right? Like louder than their alarm clock. So they go out to see it, and like it's over by their trash cans, like screeching, yowling, making possum noises, whatever those sound like. And so he's like, I'll do the humane thing. I will call animal control. Animal control is like, we don't work weekends. Good luck. So and this is where it gets wild. It sounds unbelievable, right? So they send him to the police. The police take the call, and a cruiser, 10, 20 minutes go by. A cruiser pulls up. Now, this is an East Long Meadow, right? Now, the cruiser doesn't pull up in their driveway. They park across the street, right? And one cop comes over and is like, hey, where's the possum? So, he's like, it's right there. Do you not hear it? And so, the cop sees it's like, okay. Cop goes back over to the cruiser, right, where his partner, and then, they're talking. He's like, okay, so the possum is, 6 degrees behind, the trash can, right? I think you can do this. So the cop then pulls out, an assault rifle or whatever type of gun they use, and they set it up across the street to shoot this possum, right? So then they're looking at this happen, just what the fuck is going on? They're about to execute this possum with a gun. They're just watching from their driveway. So the cop fucking lines up the possum and he fucking misses. He misses the possum. So that's okay. So he misses the possum. The guy not shooting the gun calls his partner a pussy. Whips out his sidearm, cocks it, right? Walks over to the possum, plugs 5 rounds into it. And then he walks back across the street, doesn't look back like an action movie, high fives his partner, and they back out and drive away and leave the dead possum where they shot it in the driveway. Now, this is not a story I made up. This is a story I was told at this funeral that made everybody at the table lose their marbles and share in some laughter. And it doesn't end there. They then were, his fiance, right? This guy's fiance was, crying, hysterically sick, talking about how she thought they were going to take it to a possum hospital. She thought that was the real thing. Which is sweet and totally not true, but still sweet. So, they think, okay, cool, I now have to shovel this dead carcass possum out of my driveway. So the guy does that. Then they go to the police office to file a complaint. And then who does he see walk in? Just the same two cops are like, fuck yeah, we got that possum. And then they just left. So it's writing about the sadness and the emotion with funerals, right? And seeing my friends.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but you just ended this batshit crazy story, and you're like, it's a story about sadness. You just look like. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's just that hard cut was not what I was expecting.
Right?
Sorry.
That's the point, right? Because it's it's this sad thing that happened, right? This loss, and it is sad, but it was this moment where this guy told this story that made my friend smile, right? It made him laugh at a time where, he's heartbroken and, I'm sure has a variety of other feelings going on. So it's like real life within a story that may or may not have been embellished or not, that was true. So that's what I got. But I really enjoy that story, and it sounds made up, but it's like, I kind of want to believe him, so I'm going to write that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it. I was just going to say that. That's amazing.
Oh, man.
So, if
I want to say, like, that can't be made up because it just sounds like too crazy to be not true. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Stranger than fiction, for sure.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened, no doubt about it.
Gosh.
And like that's really elaborate. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of moving parts, so it's like I don't think you thought this up before you told it. I think it was like, yeah, this scarred me. It scarred my fiance.
What's funny is, like, it seems like the cops almost had, like, done this before, like, probably a few times. Like, they knew, like, the whole situation. Because, like, they tried to get it from far. Because possums, like, I don't know if you know, they don't play dead if you run up to them and be like, ah! They, like, chase you and hiss at you, like, ah!
So the expression, playing dead like a possum is just...
Like, they do that when, like, severely in danger, like they're hurt and, like, they can't defend themselves, but, like, they'll come after you and they'll hiss and they'll try to bite you. My buddy, like, we were walking one night, like, in the middle of the night, walking through West Springfield or whatever, and we come across the possum. I was like, dude, steer clear of that possum, man. You don't want any of that. He's like, oh, look, I want the possum. He runs over to it. It freaking chased him for at least a half a mile.
I had no idea. The more you know, I'm learning a lot today.
It's way more possum than you ever thought you'd have, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But, like, so if this were to be, like, a movie, I feel like it would be a movie. I feel like John Cusack would be in it just because he's, like, in these type of things where, like, he narrates. So he would be the guy not recounting the story, but listening and then talking about, like, the voiceover for, like, the emotional stuff leading up to it. So it would focus on people gathering at this one friend's house to go to this funeral, and then them going to, like, the reception, which is a weird thing to say for funerals because it's like, this is not happy whatsoever. And then, like, that table where you're like, I'm not sure where to sit. So you sit where everyone else who's not sure where to sit sits, and, like, the banter that goes on there. But, like, and then if it was to be directed by anybody, I feel like Robert Zemeckis could do a good job. The guy who did Back to the Future. I also think that, who's the guy who did Her? Spike Jonze.
Spike Jonze.
Yeah, he could do a good job. Maybe Nicolas Cage could play a cop. Yeah.
I see it.
Nicolas Cage could be one of the cops. I also really, John, I think you could be one of the cops. I think you could do that.
That would be wild.
Fuck yeah, it's just high five.
Dude, it reminds me of the cops from Let's Be Cops.
Yes.
Like yeah. It's just like that. They're like not cops, but they're like let's be cops, man.
like that in like Superbad, right? Like
yep.
When they take them shooting, like that. Yeah, Bill Hader and, like, Jake Johnson from Let's Be Cops just as partners. That's what I want.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or pointers or things you think, hey, this would be cool, but I'm open to it.
Like, I like the idea that it's, like, a dark comedy. Like, because this is happening in, like, a very sad situation. Like you said, it's very emotional and, like, a lot of things going on. But it's like this story almost breaks that. And it, like, makes the people want to be happy again. And to, like, reach for that, like, smile, so to speak.
No, absolutely.
I dig it.
Well said, man.
one, the title is amazing. Our Possum Hospital's a thing. Perfect. I was like, that definitely caught my eye. Yeah, I really just like the juxtaposition between, this very sad event, this funeral, and this batshit crazy story that somebody shares just to, make people laugh. I think, Stefan, I don't know if you read any of this in comedy writing class, but David Sedaris.
Yeah.
I don't know if, yeah. This reminds me of like a David Sedaris story. You know what I mean? Something that's like cuckoo bananas, So I don't know, when you were telling it, it reminded me of, a lot of the heart that David Sedaris has. So that's a good thing.
No, absolutely. We read, was it Me Talk Pretty one day or something like that?
Yeah.
No, he definitely has that interesting balancing act that you guys have both talked about. So hopefully it turns out that way. So, okay, keep trying to balance the emotional with, like, the story. Like, do you think the story, I mean, I know it sounds like it's already balls to the wall. Do you think it needs to be, what's the term? Where, like, you're adding to it. Embellishing. Does anything need to be possibly embellished, perhaps? Or, like, should the cop have, like, a porn star mustache? Like, that kind of thing? Or, no?
I mean, I think the quirkier, the more details that you put into it, the funnier it will be. So I say just let your imagination go wild.
Yeah, and on that same note, like, don't feel like you can't make it relatable to people. Like, you definitely want to make that connection and make everybody be like, I know that guy. Like, I've been there.
Yeah, I think story-wise, like, I don't think you need to embellish the story. Like, they take out, like, a bazooka to, like, kill the possum, you know what I mean? But I think little character details, like a porn star mustache, like, I think that just makes the characters more, more fun. I don't know. So, and then you could have somebody who is like the straight shot, you know what I mean? The person who is telling the story, and the fiance. Those are definitely the people who are going to be like the most relatable characters, especially if you're doing like a flashback sort of scene.
Right.
So I think it's important for the audience to relate to them, fully, to sort of make them like a blank slate. But everything around them, I think you can really have some fun with the details.
Okay, so play in the details. All right. Well, perfect, guys. Thank you both for your insight, and I'm glad you dug that like crazy story that
Solid.
That dude told me at this funeral.
That's awesome.
And I just wish I was there to see it. Like, this is a moment where someone should have recorded it. You know what I mean? Like, when else are you going to see that happen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have a question about, like, so are you going to write it as, like, a short story, or are you going to, like, try to write it as, like, a script? I'm just wondering about the format, because you did talk about, like, who you would cast, if this was a movie, so...
No, that's true.
Either format works,
I think this would be more so a short story. I don't know if I could. Well, I think it could be done out, right? Like a script. It definitely could be. But I think as a short story, it seems like slightly more personal, and I don't know exactly why, but that's just how it feels. I plan on trying to... Go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I feel like if you had like a bunch of these stories, like of these little short stories, you can make some sort of movie. It's like insane instances or something crazy like that, where you're like, wow, you really can't believe this, but like, this is legit.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool, like an anthology type deal. Yeah, okay, for sure. So I guess you never know. Down the road, it could end up being something more, but at the moment, it's just a short story. And I guess it I don't want to say it's Inception because that's way cooler, but like it's something within something, right?
Yeah.
So like leading up to this crazy balls to the wall tale, like it's just talking about what it was like really being at that funeral and like being at that table, and then like the mic drop moment comes when like my friend comes over to the guy who lost someone comes to the table after making his rounds, and he comes into when people are sharing stories, and then this other guy, we'll just call him Bob, is like, oh, you think that's crazy? Well, listen to this. And then that's when he goes on his spiel.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It reminds me like of the frame story of like Princess Bride a little bit. Like you have like, I mean, it's not exactly analogous, but like you have like the grandpa telling the story to a kid, and then you get into like a story, and there's interruptions in between. So, and then it returns to the grandpa and the kid at the end. So I don't know. It's sort of that same sort of deal.
That's awesome. Princess Bride.
Love her. Anybody want a peanut?
No, that's really great. No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I guess that kind of does it for is the Possum Hospital's the thing. But I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on how that goes. And more importantly, I'm glad you guys thought that story, like that was told, right? Like, was as hilarious as it sounded to me when I heard it, because it's like I've never seen a table erupt with laughter at a funeral. So there were some.
That's
looks.
Wild.
Yeah, there were some looks, but definitely a good tale. So I'm appreciative that he dropped that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, thank you, fellas. So, guys, I hope you out there watching enjoyed it as well, and please stay tuned as we got 2 more episodes in the works with these 2 gentlemen. So that'll do it for this episode of... Oh, that was all in sync of Pitch Slap!
Stay gold, everyone. That was amazing.